Welcome everyone to the Island Life podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 49 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 15 seasons under her belt, Ange.
Hello, hello.
And of course, we also have our Survivor newbie, the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his 8th season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
Hey folks, how's everyone doing?
Doing swell here, fully in the new year. Now, a question. Do you allow people to still wish you a happy new year this late into the month?
Every day up until the final day of the year, I do.
I love that energy. Yeah, I mean, why not? I wouldn't. I'm not that person that would correct someone on that type of thing. If someone said a happy birthday text to you, maybe a week later, I actually would still say thanks. I actually would not say, "Oh, my birthday was last week." I'm just like, "Oh, thank you, appreciate
Don't
that."
you mean happy belated birthday?
Yeah.
No,
So would it
you're
be
gonna let
Happy
someone have
Belated
the
New
wrong
Year?
date or have
You
wrong
know
date.
what? Yeah, I'm just gonna let it be. That's yeah, and that's how I live.
I see.
I like it.
Fair,
Live
fair
and
enough.
let live.
Fair enough. Uh, on the island here in season 16, fans versus favorites. People are not living. People are dropping like flies. We lose
Oof.
another 3. We lost 3 people last time we talked when we only watched 2 episodes, and now we lost another 3 people, even though we've only watched 2 episodes. Uh, what do you think's going on?
This season's cursed. If like 1 or 2 people go out, I'm like, wow, what's going on with this season? But the fact that like 4 people like had to leave due to injury or quit or whatever the spectrum of quitting is, I'm shook. Like, are you shook, F? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Yeah, very much so. It's very bizarre to have a season of eliminations beyond just the tribal, and it's just you just hope that we can right the ship at this point, and it already feels like a lot, and I would hate to have more over the course of this season, but it you look at some of these challenges and they feel more physical than what we see in the modern era, and I don't know if that has partly to do with it, and then sometimes the weather just gets bad and you can't really do anything about that. That's just nature. So it is very noticeable, and we've been talking about it while we've been watching, and now that there seems to be a pattern, it is something that it just really sticks out so far this season.
You can only be grateful that this is such a big season, because on average the seasons are 18 people large. There are some seasons smaller and some seasons larger, but that's usually what it is. So 9 versus 9 if it's 2 tribes, or like in the new era, 6 versus 6 versus 6. This season was 20, so we have some room for unexpected uh, people leaving. But like you said, it's not just the extra people leaving. In other words, people leaving not at tribal council. It's also so we had fair play, engineer quit, I think is the proper term in the
Right.
beginning, wanting to uh see his girlfriend. Then about 7 months pregnant, I believe he said. And then we have Jonathan, who gets stabbed. So yeah, that feels like a reasonable reason. Then medevac. Then we have Chet, who also engineers a quit. It's still hard to tell for sure, but if full benefit of the doubt, like another injury for being like a heel injury with the coral and everything. So we got that. And now Kathy, uh, I think the way she phrased it is she can't feel her family, and so, she asks to be removed from the game. And before you gave your full thoughts, so this season's a long time ago, so, as you might imagine, stuff has come out since then. So,
Oh, okay.
the what Kath and, when I give you these stories, there's always a chance someone's either exaggerating or making themselves look better or something, so grain of salt for all of this, but Kathy says that when she applied for the show originally, she concealed the fact that she was currently on, uh, Zoloft, antidepressant,
Mhm.
because she was worried that they wouldn't let her be on the show because of that. But of course,
Oh.
when she's accepted to be on the show, she's not able to, like, sneak it in, so that means she just instantly cut herself off from that medication,
Oh, that's a bad idea.
I
and in, like,
yeah.
these extreme environments and everything, and I think she let's see how long, 21 day almost 20 days, uh, and finally asks, like, it takes its toll, and I'm sure that's not the only reason, but that's she does cite that as a major reason it got as bad as it did.
That makes
You
a
know,
lot of sense.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt, but given the context here, you just gotta be smarter than that. Like, that's just not why would you set yourself up on a show? Like, I understand it's a good opportunity, but you gotta look after your health first, and if you're coming in with some sort of and you need, like, a pick me up like that, like, you're just you gotta be better than that. I feel like that's definitely on her. That's not something where it's like, I can even feel sorry for her. I feel like she should have just known that going in.
Yeah, I feel like, I would say, now knowing what's going on, I see, I'm gonna choose to believe this. So in my mind, I'm like, I get it. I feel like the normal lay person wouldn't know stopping Zoloft or some sort of it's Zoloft is sertraline or an SSRI, which is for depression. It's really used for depression as the main drug for it. So I think the normal person doesn't realize that you should not just stop it cold turkey without, discussing with your medical provider and like do it safely. And it can cause like worsening of your depression. It could even cause like, worsening, SI thoughts. So that is a that opens my eyes in terms of knowing what Kathy was going through. My question is that do they not allow for medications, or do they? Because I never shows in terms of all these people taking meds when they do. So are they allowed to take meds if they have blood pressure, diabetes? Can they have injectables, their insulin and stuff?
There's
I
gotta be
don't
some leeway, I would imagine.
so I think in present day, there's a very fine line to what you can have. Like,
Mm.
as a result, like, I don't like, actually, maybe we'll talk to one of our Survivor experts about this. If Kathy was completely truthful today when she applied, I think she would not get cast. Or they would
Really?
say, "You need to, like, wane down first before we can put you in this environment." Um,
That's not very inclusive. Like, I
but
get the all American thing, but come on.
yeah,
I
but,
think
American
like,
with no
they but,
issues?
like, today like, in nowadays, they do give, like, they'll give you fluids. Like, they do their best to not let you just faint because of, like, heat exhaustion or heat stroke, which before, if it happens, it happens was their attitude.
yeah, I mean, I think I can understand it, right? Just because, like, a lot of medicine, you can't just take medicine on an empty stomach, and, like, they don't wanna run the risk of people, like, starving themselves and then, medicating themselves and dealing with some adverse side effects or making situations worse. So I feel like it's a risky line you have to toe around. I feel like if there's a way to regulate that, they can explore that. But if they have a lot of people applying who might be able bodied, obviously, for the sake of simplicity for them, they'll probably prioritize someone they don't have to worry about the red flags about, right? So it's unfortunate. but it's a situation where someone should be transparent about that sort of thing for their own health, right? Like, I think if there's a
1,000%, yeah.
situation that allows for them to still compete, like, imagine you have, like, diabetes or something, you just need an insulin shot, right? Like, I feel like you should give them some sort of leeway to still be able to compete and not have it hamper them being able to actually participate and stay competitive in the game. Now, like, we've seen what Kathy's went through. Like, she's went through a lot, like, right? Like, and this is why I was saying, like, if I didn't know this, I would have given her the benefit of the doubt. She's someone who's been on Exile Island pretty much the most. She's had
Mhm.
ample opportunities to try to get the immunity there, but like that's been one of the harder hidden immunities to capture based on what we've seen. It messes with your mind, no doubt. Like, it's a lot. And I can only imagine that sort of amplified that for her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1,000%.
I say that the last thing is, and you may or may not remember if you had seen season
I
42.
was gonna talk about that,
Oh,
yes.
really? All right, go ahead. Because I don't think we're gonna show
Well
you F42 for like
oh,
ages and
okay. Because I
ages.
didn't
So
wanna, like, spoil it. Because I remember I don't know if it's this exact person, but this particular, player, he ended up not like, it's either he didn't bring his lithium or he did not say he was on it. I forgot the whole gist of it, but
he
I do
he
recall that. Oh,
he told he didn't reveal that, and then like the day before it's time to start, then he revealed it, and like at that
yeah, okay,
point,
yeah. He was going through withdrawals bad.
yeah, it was
And it's
yeah.
lithium too. And lithium is also used for, I don't know his medical history, obviously, but it is used for a plethora of different types of psychological, things. So I don't know what it is specifically, but you can't just stop lithium and you could go through like the symptoms of withdrawals or worsening of your symptoms. So I do like I thought about him actually when I saw about no, when you talk about Kathleen, and I'm like, "Oh, now I feel bad," because I get what she's saying. Because during the time when I was watching Kathleen talking to Jeff about it, I was like, "What's going on? Like, push through. Come on, you got this. Like, why don't we push through? We're this far." Like in my mind, every day you go further in, you're further than the day before. So in my mind, I'm more of a we're already in this. We might as well keep going. But I get in terms of if she was going through worsening of her symptoms, possible bad thoughts, from being out of her Zoloft or sertraline, then obviously that is a big this is very concerning. And I'm glad that she, you know, moved forward with leaving, as hard as it is. I'm glad that she took her mental health first and her health first, period.
Think that's also why Jeff showed mercy and did not,
No, that makes so much sense now. I was like, why is Jeff so nice about it right now? Who
Did
are
not give the
you?
Austin execution, which
no.
also, like, I mean, it didn't happen in tribal. So, I mean, that might also be a factor.
Yeah. We're kind of just talking about Kathy already. So, based on all of this, would you want to see Kathy on the show again?
For her own sake, I would say no. But then, even just without knowing any of this, no, she's been kind of a non-existent player outside of we've just seen her on Exile Island.
That's fair. You shouldn't really get to participate in it. I guess it's mainly because she was in the Minority Alliance. And to be honest, that alliance should have been ripped apart way earlier if not for the efforts of Tracy. And then the tribes got swapped and they never lost. So actually, there was never anything to do. I mean, that's a little naive. There's always something to do. You could always be bettering your position, but in terms of tribal, there's nothing to do.
For me, I think I'm okay. I think even without knowing everything and with knowing everything, I didn't find Kathy a player that I was like, "Oh, she's gonna go for." I felt like she was just stuck on because, she hasn't her tribe luckily did not lose much. So and also I personally didn't feel like she played anything crazy where I need to see it again. I think I've seen enough.
Okay. So that is one of the first things that happened on the episode 7, which is called like a wide-eyed kid in the candy store. Um, so before that, so to set the stage, Chet's gone, but Chet did not agree to Amy slash Tracy's uh master plan. So that sucks for them too, and Chet's gone. So Tracy's in grave danger now. There is an argument about to kill the chickens or keep them.
Oh
Doesn't really go
yeah.
anywhere, but I guess it's just to add the tensions to like Tracy's situation.
It's awkward because, like, she's so out there accusing, like, people eating the chicken or, like, using up the resources, waiting for people to leave, and then you use it. It's like, whoa, a little heavy here.
I think it takes multiple viewings to spot this, but maybe 4D chests because ultimately at the end of this episode, in her like last ditch throw out Ozzy under the bus, one of the things she says is Ozzy's Ozzy's telling us what to eat and when to eat it. She could be referencing him saying, let's not kill the chicken to eat it. So maybe she's like setting all the pieces up for later.
Yeah, but it's hard because, like, Ozzy is literally he's fishing, he is finding things, he's cooking. It's hard to be like, "Yeah, Ozzy, you shouldn't like, when you're like, "I'm being fed because of him." So it's, like, awkward. I feel it's just awkward scenario through and through.
Yeah, I think for us as viewers, like we're looking at things from a certain perspective, and we see that Ozzy takes charge in things, and whether or not he himself sees where he is socially, he's at least doing things for his tribe, right? Like he's competitive in challenges. He's trying to work on establishing relationships that'll get him further in the game. And he's doing things like he's really good swimmer, obviously. Everyone comments on that. So a lot of the challenges they need him for. And then even outside of that on camp, he helps contribute swimming out there, getting them fish, providing them food, heating up the campfire. He kind of is someone who does it all, right? Like, and it makes you feel like you're looking at Ozzy as someone who's contributing and doing all these things and helping in challenges, and you're comparing him to someone who's not doing anything remotely close to that level, which is fine, right? Like sometimes, like some people have certain skills and others don't. I would not be someone who's critiquing him for that, right? Like it's because it comes across as like he's doing all this stuff around camp. You're trying to build a narrative and get him eliminated, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like, what is the camp? Like, the camp vibes are already pretty bad right now. What are they going to be when at least the one person who's helping provide a source of food is also gone? Who's helping cook that food, who's essentially there every step of the way. So she might feel as he's like micromanaging or involved or doing things like that, but he's contributing enough where like he's got to be saying something. He's not just there to feed you guys and like be hands off and have you guys like do whatever you want. So if I was in that camp, I'm giving Ozzy a pretty long leash just because I know that he's helping my game. He's helping us stay afloat. And it's just, I understand from like Tracy's perspective how she feels like she's at the bottom, so she needs to be able to make people other than herself like a bigger threat than they could be for the others.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, like if Tracy was in Ozzy's alliance, I don't think she would be making up reasons to get him out. This is all like, how do I dig myself out of this situation? Like, how can she pull a rabbit out of the hat again? Because almost every time that she goes to tribal, she or her alliance is in grave danger. And so far, every time she's been able to get out of it, usually by persuading someone to make a suboptimal move, a very powerful skill, but very difficult to rely on it if that is your main tactic. That's just hard to do. It's like if your main thing is winning challenges and otherwise you're gonna get voted out. That's hard to just always win. Eventually, it's not gonna go your way, and we're gonna see in this episode. Eventually, it's not gonna go Tracy's way, and then she doesn't have a plan B. I guess the only thing is, could she have built a narrative around somebody else? I mean, what she's facing right now is 4 favorites who are, as far as she knows, pretty strongly aligned, and the Erik. And ideally, she wouldn't want to get Erik. That only makes her situation worse. So I don't know if there's a different plan she could have gone with, but it's tough.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with her is also she's been kind of tied to like a dead horse in Chet for like all the way prior to him getting eliminated. And it's just and part of it's like we can't predict how like alternative paths would have played out, but I would have liked to see her try to, stand out on her own, or, if people are framing her as part of this minority group from the get-go, prove them wrong. How do you go about proving them wrong? Start winning, start contributing to the camp, or socialize with people and get to know them better. Try to, play on their emotions, try to be like if you're a good talker, like you could try to manipulate people. I know it sounds kind of evil, but you could try to manipulate people in a way that, diffuses your threat level sooner. She's doing this in a state where it just comes across as desperate because prior to this, she's not really branched out to work with anyone beyond like Chet or like branched out beyond the other fans. So even if like she made the effort to do that and she would have still been in the same spot, at least she made the effort to do that. I, as a viewer, I haven't really seen her do that. I've seen her just advocate for keeping Chet in the game, which I don't know like how she's going to win. Like I've asked myself the whole time, like what exactly is her win strategy? And even throughout this episode that we've seen, like her entire argument for keeping her around over someone like Ozzy is, well, like, like who's going to actually be a bigger threat? Like you guys are safe to go to the end with me, right? Like I'm not going to be a threat, which might be true, but it's like, why are you vocalizing that? Like that's such a weird thing to like call out that like, hey, I'm someone who's not going to get far otherwise. So like, it just tells me that the person's not actually trying to play like they're trying to save their hide. Don't get me wrong, but in her case, it is true. Like, how exactly is she trying to play the game and, set things apart? Like, what she's done has been impressive where she has swayed some votes, but still, she needs to be doing more than what she's shown so far. So I think up until this point, like, it always felt like, at some point after Chet was gone, she would be one of the very people, like, pretty much the next person on the chopping block if it got to it. So, um, her desperation was not too surprising to me.
Honestly, the Vision, I think, is a version of what we saw in season 49 in terms of a three-person alliance, and then, should you make it to the merge, we're no longer the biggest targets, which is what could have happened for Savannah and Rizzo and Soph, but then they accidentally made themselves actually the biggest targets of all, and they had to overcome that. But think about it. If Chet, Kathy, and Tracy, which was that alliance, if they all made it to the merge, then no one's worried about them. As Tracy herself pointed out, they're going to be targeting the likes of James and Ozzy and Erik and Jason. Meanwhile, the three of them are always voting together. It's not a bad plan, but it's a plan that requires getting to the merge. And
Yep.
and I don't know if you could blame the swap because they already were. It was like it's 3 against 7 originally. They somehow survived 3 against 7, and then they survived 3 against 6. But would they have been able to survive 3 against 5, 3 against 4? I don't know. Uh, so what about Ange? What do you think of Erik using F's words? Is Erik being the evil one, making relationships with Ozzy, getting himself in with the favorites instead of the fans?
I I I don't think so. I don't find Erik villainous. I feel like he is truly a big fan of Ozzy and truly wants to learn what's going on. He gets this like sweet moment in these next two episodes where it's like Cirie says like Lion King, Simba, and
Yeah.
Mufasa, and Mufasa is Ozzy showing Simba, little Erik, the ways of like, come here. This is how you would shake the tree and get them coconuts. This is how you would feed yourself. And I thought it was cute. I thought it wasn't. I don't think it's villainous. And even if he wasn't trying to genuinely build a relation because he was a true fan, he was just trying to build a relationship to kind of get himself out of this situation of being the bottom of this like alliance or bottom of this tribe. I think he is not villainous. I think he is attempting a game to keep to being alive.
Yeah, Eric, it is funny. It is in this episode where I was showing him how to climb the tree and everything. Um, it's hard to tell if this is intentional from Eric. I agree with that. But while Tracy is able to have strategic conversations with Amy, so one way or another they enjoy each other and talk to each other. Unfortunately, Amy is not the power player on the Favorites tribe. Ozzy is. So Eric's relationship goes a lot further than Tracy's, and it will pay off. Now, I don't know like how long it could last, but it's better than nothing. And it also I think means that because I think Eric he can choose at this point whether to stay with Ozzy long term or try to go back to the fans in the merge if and when that happens. So having options is nice. Um, so we go to the reward challenge, and this is like you get a giant wheel, like stone wheel, which is called the money stone, the Micronesian money stone. Which I mean, sure, Jeff, I didn't fact check you, so maybe. Uh, but the tribe is blindfolded, and they are rolling the wheel. There's like a pole through the center, so like an axle. And then one person is not blindfolded. They are calling and telling you where to move it, and you're trying to get through the course, which will reveal puzzle pieces. Take the puzzle pieces and then solve the puzzle. And Cirie is the caller for Malakal, and Eliza is the caller for Irai. The funniest part of this one was Cirie not doing the calculations of her lefts and rights correctly, which is funny.
Yeah. It's all about the different perspectives. Cirie is staring at her own tribe doing the challenge and not factoring in that they're looking at things from the opposite perspective. So their right is her left and vice versa. That was definitely funny. It did not stop them from getting ahead in that challenge and ultimately winning it.
No, I mean, despite those hiccups, I mean, it seemed like Cirie was still commanding with authority. Eliza, to her credit, was as well. They just were going a little slower. They had a bit of a miss because you have to like get the wheel through this kind of track as well. So they kind of went on the edge of the track. They had to go back, so they lost some time there. Um, very quietly, Eliza has been like the person giving orders and challenges, whether it's like a caller or this one. She's actually done that a couple different times, and I think she's done it well. So credit to her. But it wasn't enough. As you say, Malakal is victorious. They send Jason from the other tribe to Exile Island, and this is awkward. They have to send one of their own, and Ozzy's like, Tracy, do you want to take one for the team here?
Out of anybody, nobody wants to miss out the spa night, okay? Nobody wants to miss that.
Yeah,
Spa
because
night
this
with herbal essence, by the way,
herbal essence. That's right. That's right.
Oh, my high school shampoo, guys.
not
uh,
sponsored.
Not sponsored, yeah.
this I don't know if this happened. I don't know how often this type of game mechanic makes you miss reward. That's tough. I mean, I just won the challenge with everybody. Now I don't get the reward. So that sucks.
Yeah, that really
Uh,
stinks for her. For her, it really does stink.
Usually the tribe speaks as a consensus when Jeff asks you, like, who are you picking? So I don't know if Tracy just was like, "No, I don't agree." I don't know what would have happened. Like, Jeff's never explained the rules of this.
Sure, like,
So
what would happen if, like, no one agrees? Like, no one comes to a consensus? Because Jeff
Yeah.
can't be like, "Oh, well, let me just stab the bag of rice." Like, he can't pull that
yeah.
move. I guess he'll be
Yep.
like, "Well, time's ticking. If you don't go, this boat's about to
Yeah.
slowly make its way there."
Yeah. That
It's like
actually would be cool.
Yeah,
it's
then
like
you'll
if you
have to
guys don't
swim
decide,
there.
none of you get to go. You have to do like a group rock paper scissors for it.
Yeah, oh, yeah, draw rocks, I guess. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Interesting. Yeah, it really almost never, maybe just never period comes up. But I am curious, like what do the rules actually state for this? Uh, maybe it's just like you look so horrible if you're the one person who disagrees. But Tracy's already in a bad position. How much worse is it gonna get?
That's true. You might as well send it and get a spa day. And the worst part is, like, she doesn't get the spa day, and then also, I do wanna circle back. I still don't like this island thing. It sucks because in the end, Ozzy gets it, and then, oh, do we ever know what happens in the island? No, no idea what's happening because there's nothing to watch. There's
Yeah,
nothing
no,
to
we skip
see.
we
They're
s-
not looking for
we
anything.
skipped this one entirely.
Yeah, like this thing is skipped. It's no fun anymore. Anyways, back to my thing is, yeah, it's just funny because like she's just like I guess. I mean, in her mind, she's probably like, maybe I'll win some like points for doing that. But it's like in reality, it's probably no, you're not winning any points. You're just letting everyone else socialize and get closer while you're just fading away.
The best I can say is the act of choosing adds a little bit to the game, like maybe you're building rivalries or something, but in practice that like barely happens. If in fact, what you probably did was spiral Kathy even more as you kept sending her over and over again. So all in all, not a great thing. I guess they haven't really settled on the idea of hiding the idol at the beaches. In fact, actually, there's only one idol period. So like, there's not two idols on Exile Island. So this is still like Survivor deciding how they want to handle and hide immunity idols and there's clues. So you have to be able to get clues somehow. We saw how the previous scene at China handled it. This is obviously very different than that. Um, it will be interesting if like how long will it take for them to settle into what we know today. So that'll be interesting to keep track of.
Indeed.
Um, the reward itself is basically a spa day, but they also have like fruits and stuff. They get to wash themselves, they get to shower. Poor Erik, Cirie's like I look up and I see a pair of boobs and Ozzy's head between them, and Erik just looking there, looking all.
I will say, at least compared to the other season, this is the first censor of Amanda that actually just outright makes sense.
That's
Does
true.
yeah. And it's also not as bad. I don't know if you remember this in Cook. I think it was Cook Islands. So it's the auction, and I think Parvati won like a bath, and there's like a whole bathtub, and so she's just there in the bathtub under the bubbles. Everyone, I'm like, all right, this feels like fan service.
It
This
does
one,
look.
this
I remember that.
this one was still some fan service, but it's more to poke fun at Erik of just being the lost puppy as he'll be called
Ugh.
later. Or actually, the specific was the title of the episode. It was like a wide-eyed kid in the candy store.
Oh, yep, yep, yep. It
Um,
felt more
yeah.
respectful than the other ones we've seen, so I was okay with it.
So after that so like the other tribe, I Rise, just been suffering. That they actually have rather than a shelter, they have a cave. So they're just hiding in a cave. But just back to back seasons, we saw a cave existing. Uh, but this will all lead to Kathy eventually leaving the game. Last thing for Kathy, I think this is going to be the opposite of Chet. So the official record books would say that she quit, but us understanding the world better, we would actually say this is a medivac now, like a mental health medivac versus a quit. Just
Yeah.
Took a mental
like on
health day.
par, yeah, like on par with what happened to Jonathan. He was like for his safety, he was removed. So similarly for Kathy's safety, she was removed. Um, even though I'm sure, like in the official like Survivor archives, it says quit. Um, so oh, there was also that same day, but on the other tribe, is when Ozzy declares to the tribe, "I want the boat on the other side of the island, like for better fishing. So you should all help me row there, including you, Cirie."
Who hates water? No, does
Yeah,
not want to swim. Don't want to get wet.
she doesn't. But you know what we say? A lot more. Actually, no, really, in all the seasons, like whatever the tribe's doing, you do it too. Don't stand out. So Cirie agrees. She doesn't put up a fight to this. Helps everyone get the boat out until they're like way out to sea. And then as Cirie tells the story, Ozzy then's like, actually, now that we're here anyway, we should just like start fishing right here at the reef and everything. Which Cirie is not happy about. She does not want to be out in the ocean, basically. Uh Very uncomfortable. And uh but I think the important thing here is that she then takes this experience to the next day when she's talking to Amanda and wants is like, I think we saw the real Ozzy yesterday and looks like she's playing like anti-matchmaker. Like she's trying to break Amanda and Ozzy up, to be honest. And trying to say trying to add funny, it's almost the same as what Tracy's doing, but it feels different. But she's trying to point him out as feeling like the boss of everyone and like he is able to just force everyone to go out to sea whether they want to or not. So it was interesting. So even though Suri is part of this group clearly, and other than Amy's the only one who's even thought about targeting Suri all this time, Suri herself has her eyes on Ozzy.
She's honestly, I kind of like the spot that she's in because, again, she sometimes feels like she's playing the middle and she's doing it in a way that currently no one's calling her out for, which tells me she's not in any danger herself, despite being one of the weaker competitors in the challenges. And the thing that you're bringing up earlier with Tracy, like, getting her to the post merge, it seems like that's being set up for someone like Cirie a little bit better, like where she's also getting the benefit of being on the favorite side. So unlike like the fans that are dwindling, the favorites currently outside of like Jonathan getting evacuated, they're looking pretty strong right now. So she's someone to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, because you can tell just from this season, Cirie's reputation is not challenge strength. Therefore, you would think she's not going to get targeted after the merge for that reason if she gets targeted. So that has its advantages.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, she could get targeted for different reasons, but we'll have to see. So she's working on Amanda. So we'll see if Amanda is swayed. Amanda at least considers it, like she thinks about it. And they go to the immunity challenge. Oh, but the reward challenge was called money roll. I forget if I said that. The immunity challenge was called water drag, which is funny. It's like what hyphen drag. Trying to be creative here, I'll give credit to Survivor people. This is
Of course.
you run across like a floating obstacle course. It's kind of it's like a bridge on the water. Gotta run across it and then get to giant puzzle pieces that are tied together. So you're gonna untie it. You yourself are connected to a rope, and that rope's is connected to a what's it called? A winch that can be turned. So when you get there, you attach your rope to the puzzle piece, and then you hang on, and the rest of your tribe is going to turn the huge winch and reel you back in like a fishing line. And it's kind of cool because you kind of like fly on the water at that point as they're bringing you in. And you're gonna need to do that 5 times, and then complete the puzzle, which is like a puzzle on the ground. Basically, you have to make a square. Uh, the main thing of this challenge is that Irai sends 4 different people over the course of the challenge, whereas Malakal sends Ozzy every single time, except one time where Ozzy calls in his protege Erik. But then after he's like, "No,
Protege.
I'll do this
Is
myself
Robin,
afterwards."
Batman
Yeah.
and Robin duo.
Yeah. So, and because of that, that works splendidly. Ozzy dominates, gives them a pretty good lead, but unfortunately, the puzzle trips them up. Um, which I think is probably because this is the rare like puzzle challenge plus strength challenge because the puzzle pieces themselves are big and heavy, so you need both strength and like puzzleness. And so I think it's Eliza and Jason maybe doing the puzzle on the other side. And they're able to catch him and win. And Irai wins immunity again for the 3rd time in a row.
Well, clearly, I blame Ozzy for this because why didn't he also do the puzzle? Right? Like, why didn't he just do everything?
Honestly, maybe. I don't know if they were like Jeff didn't say there were rules about who does what. I mean, clearly, because Ozzy just went over and over again for the other part of the challenge. I don't know if we've seen Ozzy with like puzzle skills. He hasn't often needed that talent.
It's
But
no,
like I
it's
said,
just it's a funny joke just to go with a narrative that like, oh, Ozzy's like pretty much doing whatever he can and the rest of the tribe is ultimately failing him. It's like I honestly, if I was in Ozzy's shoes, I would be feeling that where it's like I feel like I'm doing whatever I can and it's just not like I'm just not getting anything out of it.
are you
It
feeling it
feels
enough to?
tiring.
Are you feeling it enough to mutiny to the other tribe? Because that'd be crazy.
That
Be
would
like,
be
I'm done with
crazy.
It's
this.
that's pretty extreme, right? And like I would have to like I don't want to burn any bridges, but this is one of those things where like you see the strategy in play as you're describing the challenge. Clearly Ozzy keeps doing most of the challenge on his own except for when he's having Eric give him a breather for one of the rounds. If he felt more confident in his tribe, which I think part of the problem with them is like the issue with they're seeing that Ozzy's taking charge, but it's like if you don't want him to take charge, like work towards winning as a team, and the team has been very underwhelming in that sense. So it's creating this odd dynamic of he's feeling like he needs to do all this stuff and they're obviously not liking that, but they're also not winning at the same time and they're not really doing anything to build themselves up as a team. So there's a whole lot of chaos going on in that tribe right now.
Yeah, actually, and if this had been the very, very beginning of the game, sometimes the people who don't fail the puzzle get targeted. So like Amanda and Cirie could have been in danger. I mean, they could have it could have been held personally against them. And in fact, after this challenge, so they go back to camp. Both of them are going to Ozzy like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't, we especially Amanda. It's like, sorry, we weren't able to do it." But Ozzy actually doesn't care about this. He's like, "Oh, it's fine. I mean, we're targeting the fans anyway." And they ask him, "Oh, but which one?" And he says Tracy immediately. The looks on their faces are interesting, like especially because Cirie had already talked to Amanda about maybe targeting Erik. Um, because I guess that's another difference between Cirie and Tracy. Although both of them are pointing out flaws in Ozzy of being controlling, Tracy's ultimate conclusion is get out Ozzy, whereas Cirie's ultimate conclusion is to get out his number one, which seems to have suddenly become Erik. Uh, so slightly different there. This is when we find out that Amy has what what I think is actually an excellent plan. This is hard to explain. They try it on the show. She wants to execute a 3-2-1 vote because there's 6 people. And which means that involves tricking the majority into splitting their vote so that you and your group are left with the new majority and you get out who you want. And she also has no problem voting out Ozzy because like it's Ozzy, like he definitely is going to be a threat to win, so it'd be nice to get him out. And remember, Amy was not even part of their group originally, so I mean, she's been part of it so far on this new tribe, but she probably is suspicious. Like, yeah, they're probably just gonna replace me with the Parvati and James long term. Uh, so the specifics are she knows that Cirie and Amanda are thinking about voting for Erik, but they're hesitating because they know Ozzy won't. So she's going to tell them, don't worry. I know I agree with you. Erik's who we should get out. So we will vote for Erik. We won't tell Ozzy because we know he won't like it. And after the vote, we'll apologize. It's fine. But secretly, she, Erik, and Tracy will actually vote for Ozzy. So in the end, them three are 3 votes for Ozzy. Cirie and Amanda vote for Erik, thinking that's the plan, and Ozzy votes for Tracy, thinking that's the plan, and they got out Ozzy. That would have been excellent, I think. Uh, it's not what happens, but that is what she's trying to make happen.
I do like that they are thinking about it strategically. Like, this is part of why I'm enjoying parts of the season, because and it's being driven by the favorites there. You do see strategic thinking come into play when someone does return, and they're looking at it from hopefully a different angle than their prior, like the season that they were a part of. And this is part of what I enjoy about Survivor, right? Like, when the tactics come into play, if they work, if they don't work, like, that's another thing. But the fact that they're trying to think and be creative and see like what works and what doesn't work and adapt to new strategies, that's where I find enjoyment with this show.
I do agree that they're trying to make moves and it's nice to see them try to. But it's not that easily executed, but it just makes sense as a viewer. You're just like, yeah, why are we letting Ozzy just go around? Like, he is so good. He is truly, like, he might not think he's the leader. Like, later on he says that. He is the leader. And he's like the leader, the feeder, the gatherer, the bringer. He's everything. He in the final three would definitely be anyone, I would say. So, like, it's smart to make moves on him when he least expects it.
Yeah, I'm sure Ozzy intends to use the same tactic he used in Cook Islands, which had him 1 vote away from winning, and it took someone like Yule to actually win. So, unless you think your game is on par with Yule's, it's probably not great to follow Ozzy. It's probably what people like Amy are thinking, or even Parvati will hear her in the next episode. Um, and this is probably the difference between having a second chance at the show versus the first chance. Because even though Tracy's been sharp, like she's thinking of good plans to save herself, I think it's fair to say that Tracy's been doing a great job at playing defense. This plan from Amy is playing offense. Like you are actually getting out like the biggest threat. Um, Unfortunately, the show doesn't spell it out, but I think what happens is Cirie and Amanda in the end tell Amy, I don't know, like I don't want to go against Ozzy this time. It's not necessary. Let's just vote for Tracy. Which means the plan of 3-2-1 is not going to work anymore. Therefore, Amy calls off the plan and Tracy's screwed. Um, Although at the time, that's actually even better for Amy. Like you came up with a plan that you're able to back out of. Like, because sometimes your plan is like all or nothing. This was not all or nothing because you can back out of it. So at the time, this felt good for Tracy. Or not Tracy, for Amy. Um, which brings them to tribal council. Uh, at this point, no, I'm sure knowing all is lost, Tracy goes for broke and doubles and triples down on trying to point out that Ozzy both is a threat to win and you should get him out, and also he's bossing everyone around, and like we don't want to have someone taking away our agency basically. So she tries to use both of those. Um she does get, I think, Cirie kind of says like, "Well, I mostly like I see what she's saying. I wouldn't call Ozzy a leader, but he does like do 90% of the stuff." Which is when I was like, "So he's 90% a leader, I guess." Um, but in the end, in the end, they do vote for Tracy. 5 votes to 1. Uh, do you wish to see Tracy again?
I think
Definitely
I'm
not.
okay. Yeah, I
No.
don't think so. She didn't play a really that great of a game, honestly speaking, so she didn't really quite impress me.
Yeah, I think
I
for
like
me,
Tracy,
her
but her
actions.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think for me, her actions are what led me, like the effects of her actions, I should say, are what led me to not enjoy parts of this season. She's responsible for keeping Chet
F is
around
like,
for
"Just
longer
put
than
you
he should have
kid."
been.
I
Yeah.
like how rather than be mad at Chet, you're mad at Tracy.
Well, I mean, Chet pretty much from day one seemed like he had given up. It's a testament to like Tracy's social skills, which I will admit have been pretty good, that he's been around way longer. I don't really credit Chet for staying in as long as he did. I credit Tracy more for that just because she's been taking a lot of the pressure off him.
Yeah, I did like her skills, but ultimately her alliance was just a dreadful alliance because both of them, when one was medevaced and one engineered quit, and if she had just abandoned them to start, she probably would have had a better chance at making it further. So, but I did. I mean, again, I like the actual skills. I thought were impressive, but she doubled down on her plans, and it turned out that they were not good enough. And so we lose Tracy, which leaves Erik by his lonesome. So now in episode 8, which was called A Lost Puppy Dog, uh, this is poor Erik now alone. No more fans on this tribe. Although at least he does have a bond with uh Ozzy, so that's something, but it's still not looking good. Um, the main new thing is we've spent so much time on Malakal because they just keep on losing. And we get like small things on Irai, but they're just whatever. Finally, we get something. And that something is that James and Parvati are talking to each other. And they're just, trying to talking about making it to the merge, with their intentions to get back to Ozzy and Amanda and Cirie. Parvati points out that if we get to the merge, and we probably will because we keep on winning, by the way, then all these people on our tribe, like all these fans, could easily, and Eliza could easily join up with Amy and Erik, and then we're gonna be in trouble. We'll be a minority. Like that's not good. So Parvati's solution to this is to go to Natalie and Alexis, the two fans, who haven't had much to do since the very beginning on this other tribe, since they don't go to tribal, and proposes an alliance with them. And it kind of comes in two parts. She's like, for now, you two could join James and I, and like on this tribe we can be a group. And then after the merge, like all the big guys are going to be targets. So actually, it could be you two and me and Amanda, and that could be the 4-person group. She even
Yeah, I like
says
that.
final 4.
I like that because that showed me that, like, hey, I see a different side of Parvati that's just not just flirting her way and hoping for the best. Like, she's actually strategizing. And I was like, oh, okay, I see you. Cause that makes her feel like to them, she's like the person, holding out a hand, being like, hey, let's work together, Like, I'll protect you. We're good. And let's like go for Final Four. I feel like people are very like, they don't want to break their word, so they don't say these things, and they don't want to make it uncomfy and give these promises. Parvati's just like, yeah, Final Four, easy. And if I was like a fan, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're giving me a hand. That's amazing. I would love to. Like, I need something to stay around. So that's a really good play on her end.
What'd you think about this supposed new alliance? F.
Makes me feel pretty good about my pick of Parvati.
I know. I might jump ship. There's a chance.
Because there should be no downside to this, right? Because like she could be genuine, and then that's a 4-person group that people wouldn't expect too, so you get the advantage of secrecy. She could just change her mind and stick with James and the rest of them, and then what are Alexis and Natalie gonna do about that? Um, or she could just change, like she could just flip flop. I think this gives her options, which is
It
good.
does,
Like I don't
and I
think
think. Yeah, sorry. Finish your thought.
like I don't like we'll see in this episode the dangers of like expressing your plan to somebody. I don't know. Like let's say Alexis and Natalie want to tell on Parvati. I don't think they're gonna get much with that. Like even if they go to James, that's not gonna like Parvati told James this is what she's gonna do. So I don't know if James is gonna actually feel like that's a betrayal anyway.
Yeah, it's a step out of like it's working towards the right direction, but it shows remnants of what a good social game is about. And I think that as we've been discussing how are we getting into like the next phase, right? It feels like any moment now we could get into a merge setting, right? Like it feels like it's weird that we haven't already gotten there with some
Mhm.
of the extra eliminations that we've seen. But eventually, like I would be surprised if by the next episode we're not already merged. I think I would have expected the latest episode we just saw, to be quite honest. So, fact that we didn't go there, it tells me like it's happening at some point within the next episode. Like it just feels like it's kind of overdue at this point. But it like her bringing that up just kind of puts that in the forefront, right? Like what are the dynamics going to be looking like post merge? How are people going to be able to maneuver around the tribal lines that they've held to so far, but like how are they going to venture outside of that? And it's good to see that we're starting to see remnants of like the social game come into play. And you brought up a really good point. Just because the Malakal tribe has been losing so much, we haven't been able to see what the other tribe has been kind of put through outside of like the challenge wins, how James is feeling uncomfortable around the rest of them being girls, with like Jason being on like
Yeah.
Exile Island or whatever. But it makes me want to see the rest of the tribe. So I am very much looking forward to the merge, just so we can see where the rest of the tribe is at, rather than a pure focus on one just because they're just losing so much.
Yeah, and then for Natalie and Alexis themselves, like whatever you feel, definitely say yes to this. I mean, you could always go back on it later if it's advantageous, but uh like at this exact moment, they're heavily behind. Like before this episode was over, it was 4 fans to 7 favorites. So I mean, do what you got to do. It will turn out when the episode's over to be 4 fans to 6 favorites. Um, but and like be with Parvati and then join back up with Erik, pull and maybe tell Jason about this, and then maybe like there's probably ways to do it. So good on them for not being like, oh, why would I ever be with a favorite? I'm a fan. Like definitely say yes is what I'm saying. Um. So okay, so that's I think the big thing on their tribe. What also happens is a weird format of a challenge. This is for reward and immunity, but before that, each tribe gets a note saying that they have to pick one person from the other tribe who won't compete. That person will get exiled, but they will be immune from tribal if your tribe goes to tribal council. Um, kind of a lot of hoops to jump through to get all that, but at the end of the day, you'd be like, all right, who do I want to weaken from the other tribe, or who do I want to protect on the other tribe? Is how you could think about it. Uh, Irai picks Ozzy, prioritizing let's actually win. Let's not have Ozzy here carrying them. And the other tribe is about to pick James, but funny enough, on the piece of paper, it's like they circled him, then crossed it out, and they had like arrows pointing to Alexis. It's like actually his who we're picking. Uh, they justify it by saying like, well, we think the challenge is going to be balance based, and she looks like she could balance, therefore here. Which I mean, that could have been true. Hard to say.
Felt
Uh,
kind of pointless to me. I feel like I would have liked to see the challenge with everyone on both teams rather than adding this component and then the whole like I'm pretty done with Exile Island at this point, so I hope they get
I
away
get
from
you
it.
1000% F. I feel that.
Yeah, I feel like in the near future, let's just hope Jeff decides, okay, enough with Exile Island, let's just move on to the rest of the game.
yeah, for all you know, it continued for 36 seasons until the Dave vs Goliath that we watched. Uh, you never
God
know.
no.
um, yeah, I felt like something was missing. Maybe was this challenge supposed to be something different, but they've lost too many people, so they had to change what it was. I don't really know. But it was called the Gauntlet. So your team of four, two of you are gonna run through another floating obstacle course on the water. And it's got a balance beam, like a net, and like one of those like spinning like barrel type things you could fall off of. But also at the same time, the two people from the other tribe will be swinging these giant like sandbags to try and knock you off. Uh, it's like shoot, what's that called? Wipeout, that old like game show that might still be happening. Um, and so there's two people who are the actual runners, and you're running to get the flags and bring them back. Do it 5 times to win, and you alternate, so one at a time on your own team on the course. The main thing that was funny is that the very first obstacle is this bridge to kind of tiptoe across, but Erik decided the best method was just vaulting over that entire section to get to the other platform,
Ugh.
and that worked every time until it didn't.
It looked
Yeah,
painful when he did
65% of the
that.
time it worked every time. Uh,
Yeah.
I thought this challenge was pretty neat. I just wish that the people on the opposing tribes who were like throwing these little like I don't know what they're called, but like they're like these. Think of like a sandbag. They're like kind of swinging them from like one side of the obstacle course, and it's going to the other side. It's
It's like
like
a boxing bag.
exactly, yeah. And the point is to like knock off the person running the obstacle off like the small like narrow pole that they're trying to get across. We had like what one instance the entire challenge run where someone got knocked off, and that being Eliza, from what I recall.
And
And it just
only one other time anyone got hit, I think. I think, Erik got hit by James,
Eric got
but
hit,
Erik
but
didn't
he
fall off.
brushed it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was this was a pretty interesting challenge, and it's like you can tell that like while yes it does seem chaotic, there is some semblance of structure to it in that you like there's a priority chain, like not like you're not both jumping onto like the poles that like the other tribes are trying to knock you off of. You have to go in order, like whoever gets there first gets to go first. The other person has to kind of just wait and be behind them. So I thought it was interesting. It was one of those things where you're like, man, this is gonna look pretty physical just from the get go, and it was, but Erik definitely got this is one of those other situations where like, are we seeing another injury in the midst? And Erik
Got
trying
me
to like
worried.
just jump from one side to the other, slamming his chest straight into the wooden plank. That one definitely felt like it would leave a mark.
I mean, afterwards, he says He's not. Are you okay, Erik? No, I'm not. He looked
Yeah, you
affected.
could have the wind knocked out of you, like right over there.
Yeah. But this was even like after. I mean, this is after they got back, and he pulls up his shirt to show. I didn't actually see anything, but I mean, it looked. I take his word for it. That looked painful.
Yeah, unlike Chet, I do believe that was really painful and it was really it would hurt for a while. So I feel bad because he's trying his best, he's losing. It's gonna be like someone's gonna go home. It's like all these emotions pouring on him and I just feel so bad.
Yeah, because despite his efforts, including the leaping, because F, like you said, you have to whoever gets to that one section of the course first goes first. That's part of the reason why Erik is lead. He's not doing the show off. He's trying to get there first, which works most of the time. Um, but they lose anyway. So,
Unfortunate.
uh, another fourth immunity loss in a row for Malakal, which gives the other tribe pizza and beer, I believe. Um, so this begin. Oh, actually, first Exile Island. See, you guys complaining there's no Exile Island, but actually something does happen on Exile Island, which is that Ozzy and Alexis follow the clues which Ozzy knows the solution to already, so he kind of just pretends like he tried and isn't finding it, and then sleight of hand checks the spot where he put the fake immunity idol and notices it's not there, meaning almost certainly somebody has taken it. So he's just like, "Yes, excellent." He's just happy. So add that into the pool of knowledge that Ozzy now knows somebody has taken his fake immunity idol.
Wonder if it's
And
ever gonna be
apparently,
used. Like, is it gonna be just like a joke, it's funny, but never used, so it doesn't matter anyways? Or I don't know. We'll have to see.
oh, I hope
Or
so.
or he builds a relationship with him and then be like, "Hey, by the way, it's fake. It's not real." You know? I don't know. I wonder how it's gonna work. Because you don't know after the merge, they could build a relationship, and Ozzy's like, "I don't wanna mess with him because that's not gonna get me any votes here."
Yeah, they
It's
could.
a funny story to follow, honestly, the fake idol thing, just because, like, as we were talking about in the previous recording, we have they actually correctly it was first Chet who correctly does call out that, "Oh, yeah, I think Ozzy has it," and he may be just saying that, like, we don't actually know the true reasons, but I think given the context of where he was, it's just he's trying to, like, throw a shot out there, and that just it ends up just clicking. As you said, Will, like, a broken clock is, like, right twice a day. I think that's what you had said, and that's what it felt like. And then we see Jason, while he himself doesn't believe it, which leads him to find that hidden immunity idol, the fake one. He then just uses that as an excuse to the rest of the tribe once they get to a challenge, exposing that, like, yeah, no, we think Ozzy has it, just to take some of the pressure off himself. What he doesn't realize is he's actually right about the assessment. And that to me has been the funniest part of the season, in that, like, Ozzy gets it. He's like making this plan, and now he might be thinking that they're playing some sort of like 4D chess, and they realize that it's him, and it's like, how do I maneuver around this where I have this idol which people seem to know I have, but then in a sense it also seems like they don't know, and it's like it creates mind games for him to have to deal with.
Yeah, we did hear there was one confessional in this set of episodes where Jason just like, well, I think it was like one of their bad days. Like things are not great, but at least I got my idol, so that's good. Um, so just a reminder that thus the audience that Jason is 100% positive that what he has is the hidden immunity idol.
And
Uh,
Ozzy calls that out. That's the other funny thing. Ozzy's like, yeah, Jason's a pretty naive person. If he finds it, he's probably going to
it
believe
wasn't
it
even that
actually is him.
like what Ozzy had said that other episode is like from what I've been told, he's the type of person that would believe it. So it's even secondhand
How did it
knowledge, and
work? Like, how did that even happen? That worked out so well for
So
Ozzy.
it's
That
like
was crazy.
they're like calling each other out, and they're actually like nailing it right on the head without
they
even
are, yeah.
realizing it.
Um, but now on the losing tribe, Malakal, I think we have no choice but to give credit to Erik for what we see is what probably was the only path to saving himself that existed, and I he did it well enough, which is he goes to Amanda and Cirie because Ozzy's not there. He's on Exile Island. Amy happens to be somewhere else at the time, and just reveals everything about all of Amy's plans that have been happening the last several, like in this case, remember, it's not a new era, so the past 3 episodes is 9 days, so he can be like, "She's been plotting against you for the past week and a half." Like that would be an accurate thing to say then. And it's funny, he starts with like, "How well do you trust Amy?" is how he starts it, and then goes into everything. Amy even, like, walks by, like, twice, and the second time, she's, like, looking back, so you can only assume, like, she's noticed what's happening, like, she can hear enough of the what they're talking about, and probably is like, "Oh, no. I didn't think this would happen."
Yeah, it's kinda hard playing on both sides because this is exactly what's gonna happen, you know? And, like, she's always been like, "Hey," she didn't feel right that the fans were, like, making fun of the favorites are making fun of the fans and due to their lack of experience, and been kinda like the one that's, like, pulling them out with a guiding hand, but it's like, unfortunately, now we're in an awkward position of, yeah, you're not getting the favor anymore, and, Erik is now more like than you are per Ozzy, you know? So, that puts her in a tough predicament.
Yeah, it just,
And the
it
best
creates
thing
another I was just gonna say, it creates another 50-50, which we seem to get a lot of, like, with every, like, tribal council this season. I know generally, like, that's how they wanna play it. They don't wanna make picks seem, like, very obvious, but it felt like there's been a lot of, like, 50-50s this season.
credit to the editors. But also, I mean, it makes sometimes it just lines up nicely, like, it definitely was accurate to say that the decision was between Erik and Amy, like, the other people weren't in consideration. Maybe in another timeline, if Ozzy hadn't been the one that was exiled and therefore was not immune, some other kind of plan to blindside him could have happened. But as it was, that wasn't on the table. So, um, yeah, but this works out great for Erik, and it's really because not only is he telling the truth, but there's also there's no reason for him to lie about this because, and you might think like, what do you mean? You're desperate, you're gonna lie. But this is easily fact-checked information, which they do. They do ask Amy, who doesn't deny it. Her explanation is that, yeah, those conversations happened, but I was just telling the fans what they want to hear. I was letting them have a nice day, giving them some hope at the end. Not, I mean, that's plausible. People probably have done that over the years. Um, but her problem is that she wasn't in the group originally anyway. And when she was part of that other group led by Jonathan, I mean, they did vote against these people, specifically for Cirie. Because remember that one vote where Cirie and Jonathan were like arguing at each other. Jonathan's target was Parvati, but Amy voted for Cirie that vote for strange reasons. And now that might be coming back to bite her because it's just an add to the list of reasons to not want to keep Amy.
That did not work for her favor in the end.
She's just playing a very suspicious game, and it is not helping her cause.
But I guess pushback. I mean, it wasn't suspicious until it was. I mean, there was none. The target was not on her at all until this happened.
You say that, but, like, I found myself questioning why she was so averse to, like, just trying to form a majority with the favorites. It felt like she was pretty quick to just jump off that wagon. Even if she felt like she was at the bottom, she didn't try to work with that majority, and I think that's the biggest gripe, right? Like, that's why, some people had taken issue with, like, even they discussed that during the tribal council that, like, she's talking about not being part of the group, and Ozzy just says, like, "Well, like, what prevented you from being part of the group? Like, no one was, like, trying to shun you or anything. That was my takeaway as well. Like, it didn't seem like they were actively shunning her or anything. It's like she herself was just deciding to step away from the group.
I mean, that's a little harsh, don't you think? Like, when you're like, if you're not part of the cool kids table, it's hard to just walk up and sit down at the cool kids table. Like, she might have felt that clearly I'm not in their in group, so I'm
But,
not
like,
gonna it's just gonna cause
you're
more drama if I try to insert myself. I'd rather do something with the other people.
no, it's not inserting your like, this is part of playing Survivor. You have to, like, you have to show your social game, right? Like, if you're part of the majority and you're seeing that the other people are voting, like, with tribal lines, especially, like, early in the season, like, I don't know how, like, the original seasons were with this, but to me, I would think most people would wanna stay with their like, the early like, the tribes that they're a part of. Part of my advantage early on is to do what I can to stay as part of that tribe. If I'm taking a she herself called it out when she first spoke to the fans. She's like, "I'm taking a big risk by coming to you guys and talking to you guys about this stuff." So she understood that. I don't know why she was taking that, like, it felt a little unnecessary. Could like, is it smart? Like, if it works out for her, absolutely, it gives her another lifeline, but we've seen as how, like, the game was played, Ozzy doesn't come across as a person, or like Amanda, or like even Cirie, they don't come across as people who are not gonna talk to you if you know, if they don't wanna talk to you. The only, like, inkling I got of that was when Cirie obviously had a disagreement with Jonathan, where she kinda just shut him down. Other than that, she's been willing to have conversations with everyone. You know, even Cirie feels like she's at the bottom of that tribe, but she's at least been working with that tribe. Whereas, like, I didn't get the same sense with Amy. It's like, I didn't even get to see her spend that much time with that tribe. She's already counting herself out. I feel like you're just kind of like, you're not playing to a potential strength you might realize you don't realize that you have.
Gotcha, gotcha. What do you think, Ange? Is there a way Amy could have played this differently, or maybe she just shouldn't have done any of this at all?
I think I agree with F in regards to, like, why does she do it? I think she did it a little too aggressively. You know, I think I would have made, like, friends with the other team, like, with the fans, however, not been so aggressive um with putting down the favorites. I think she went too aggressive and showed her cards too soon, making it hard for her to stay, you know? I think that by doing that, it makes it hard for me to wanna keep you. You know? Like, I feel like if you wanna take me out, why should I be with you? You know, and that's Ozzy's perspective is like, "If you put me on there, then you're done. I'm not gonna work with you because you thought of putting me down. Like, I don't care what you're thinking about now, but you spent a blank amount of days trying to take me out, and you're not trustworthy anymore to me." So it makes sense on that end. I think she was way too aggressive on taking out the favorites and working with the fans, but the fans weren't doing great. You know, it wasn't like she was successfully taking out the favorites by moving in with the fans. She was not doing the greatest. That slowly but surely, the fans are dwindling by number. There was only one more guy left, so I felt like she should have just jumped ship ages ago or just not have showed her cards so quickly. That's where I would have been.
Yeah, I think in a hypothetical scenario where, like, she didn't do that, Erik doesn't really have a claim against her. Erik probably would be a pretty easy out this episode. And, you know, like, it's one of those things where, like, I'm 90% sure next episode they're going to merge. Like, that would shock me if they don't merge by the next episode. And if they merge, that makes things even, like, better for her, right? Like, whatever I'm describing with Cirie, like, I would see Amy in the same camp as she might be, like, lower on the totem pole, but, like, there's less pressure to get her out, even, like, what especially once you get into, like, a merge setting. She could have been in a pretty good spot had she not gotten too aggressive with joining, like, the fan side and being willing to work with, like, it's there's nothing wrong with trying to work with them, but, like, we just didn't see enough as viewers where it's like, is she actually, like, trying to work with the favorites? Because 'Cause I'm not really seeing a lot of that.
Honestly, I think it comes down to she took all of her moves were calculated risks, but she didn't calculate the final risk, which is If Eric's by himself, his choices are lie down and die or throw you under the bus. And unless he's someone like Chet, he's gonna pick the other option, throw you under the bus. And also what it comes down to is despite that problem, I mean, Amy survived 4 tribals in a row without being a target. So, or 3 tribals in a row. So maybe if they had just won one time, she would have made it to the merge. And then at that point, she could pivot. She can go back to Eliza if she wants to. She could join the other fans if she wants to. But unfortunately, they lost 4 in a row. So maybe just like Tracy, keeping in Chet screwed you over because it made you lose 1 extra time, which is what you sent you home. Um, Last part of this episode is that Ozzy comes back, and sitting right there waiting for him to return is Erik. Oh, who knows how long he sat on that beach waiting for Papa Ozzy to return.
Oh no, I know that moment. It just made me think of like when Draco Malfoy was like, "My father would hear about this," and then like he just stomps over to tell his father. You know, that's what I think of when he was waiting for Papa Oz. He's like, "Papa, Papa, I need to tell you something before you go in there. I need to talk to you real quick." It's like the moment of like before you maybe like your teacher called your parents and you don't want your parents to talk to your teacher right away. You want to like kind of give a brief story explanation kind of thing. That's what I felt like. It's like, before you go in there, let me tell you something real quick. Let me tell you something.
You know,
Yes,
we're
this is
laughing
really
at him, but maybe if somehow Amy got there first and told a different version of events, that could have helped. So I think
potentially.
this is credit to Erik again. I mean, he did what had to be done. Uh,
I do like the
yeah.
dynamic here. It's kind of funny because of like the whole father figure kind of vibe that it gives, despite the fact that there's probably not that big of an age gap between the two. So it's pretty funny.
Uh, Ozzy obviously does not like what he's hearing, especially unlike the other girls. He's being told he was targeted multiple times. So he talks to Amanda, at least Amanda. I'm sure you went to Cirie too. But talks to Amanda about it. Amanda actually also is still leaning to keep Tracy. She's trying to say like, "Oh, devil you know versus devil you don't." Um, I think this disagreement is predictable because obviously Erik is better for Ozzy, but not better for Amanda. And I gotta say, this did give me flashbacks of her previous season when Todd and her would disagree on things. And in that case, sometimes it was Todd that got his way, and sometimes it was Amanda that got her way. Uh, but this time it will be Ozzy who gets his way, as they go to tribal council. In desperation, Amy I mean, actually, I don't know if she would have done any of this, but it's because Ozzy calls her out with everything but her name and being like, well, sometime there's like a favorite here that is just not being content with their position, and like she knows it's her he's talking about, so she has to defend herself.
Her name starts with an A, could end with
Yep.
a me. Who knows who I'm
And
talking about?
Amy's like crying, and I'm like, oh no. I was shocked actually. I didn't think Amy would cry because I thought she wouldn't care. It's like, oh, okay, you found out my gameplay, boo. But she did feel some sort of something, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe she's like she's been doing all this in the shadows. None of it worked, but at least now they actually seem to like me, so I don't need to like deceive them anymore. This is great. And then it suddenly flipped on its head. Um it gets emotional, and it'll turn out that everyone takes Ozzy's side and Eric's side, and they vote 4 votes for Amy. Amy votes for Erik, and we lose a favorite, which actually had been a couple of fans in a row until this point. So we lose a favorite. Um, do you wish to see Amy again?
I don't think so. Me personally, no.
I did like what she was trying to do. Like, I did like that there was some strategy. I just think that it was the execution she failed on. But I think still, despite that, I would not like to see her again. And I don't think we talked about this specifically, but do you guys recall, like when she did go back and speak to the tribe and felt that like she'd come away on top? You guys remember how she's like describing it to Erik and making him feel like he didn't
Oh,
really do
you mean
anything?
thanks? You know what? Actually, I gotta thank you because what you did that you thought hurt me actually helped me, and I'm better than ever. Even that conversation.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty funny. It's like Eric's like just
Yeah,
standing there. He's like, okay, you're
Eric.
welcome, I
Eric
guess."
is perplexed what to do with the situation, which I mean, most people wouldn't be. That's a very awkward situation to be in. Uh, yeah, but you know what? I mean, again, credit to Eric for getting himself in a position where they'd rather have him than Amy.
Yeah.
Um, do you feel that we want to, since this is a favorite, are you intrigued of Amy's original season versus a future season?
I feel like I'm open to any of them, to be quite honest. They're here for a reason. So whatever that reason may be, it means that they, even if they didn't necessarily win, they played an interesting role in the season that they were a part of.
Okay, okay, good to know. Because I'm always curious. Like, obviously, like you've in this case, since you haven't seen them yet, will it turn out you agree that they deserved a second chance? Like we're doing it backwards, which is interesting.
I
Um,
think, yeah, generally I would say yes, but like for someone like Johnny Fair, like if I didn't see the original season he was part of, he might be he might be an outlier. He might be like, yeah, well, don't really care.
sure. Or actually, honestly, even Yellman. Like, if you did not have me kind of giving you hints as to what he did in the season, maybe you wouldn't have even wanted to see his season.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, very
I
good,
agree.
very good. All right, so your winner picks all survive. It was risky,
Mm.
but uh, no trouble. So, if you have Eric and Parvati, uh, as you say, it is likely that the merge is imminent, though we don't know for sure. We were like wrong twice in a row. Uh, do you wish to switch from either Eric or Parvati?
Erik, yeah, it would be very difficult to retain someone like Erik, but if they're
Mhm.
going into a merge setting, that will help out a lot. So I'm
Wow.
not as worried about Parvati. I think she is looking like a winner pick. Uh, I'm gonna stay with the two that I have.
Oh my gosh.
All right, sticking with Eric and Parvati, very well. Uh, and you have, I was about to say Todd and Amanda. You have Ozzy and Amanda.
Uh,
Uh, do you wish to switch from either of them as winner picks?
I think I'm keeping Amanda because I feel like she's pretty strong here. Like I feel like she may got this. Although I'm tempted to switch her out too, depending on what's gonna happen next. Ozzy, I'm not sure. I actually feel like if they do merge, Ozzy, James are actually like as Parvati says, it are very like big people that they will go for because they hypothetically would do the best in a individual immunity. Um I'm
He does still
concerned
have an
keeping
idol
Ozzy,
though.
you know. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my
It's
gosh, you're
true.
right.
He does
Oh my
have
gosh,
an
I forgot about
idol.
that.
His allies know, or the showmance alliance. So Amanda,
Yeah, I
You're
think they're
right.
the
James,
short.
and Parvati know, but nobody else. Like Cirie doesn't know that.
All right, you know what? I'll stick with my person then. You're right. I forgot about his idol. You're right. Let's
Wait,
go with
wait,
it.
wait. Well, but
Wait,
like, wait, what were you thinking of switching? If I didn't,
you know,
were you
I
think?
thought about I was thinking about switching him out with someone else, but you know, if he does have the idol, you're right. Why switch?
Who did you have in
So you
mind
feel
that you were going to switch him out
You know,
for?
I might jump on your ship. You know, usually I like to go
Yo,
a
let's
different
go.
person, but I might go for Parvati. She's playing.
I'm
She's
telling
getting
you.
my respect here. But I worried I mean, if I lose Ozzy, I could always switch over to Parvati with my Amanda pick.
It's funny because it's like any of the Air AI tribe, the IRI. I'm gonna say it right.
Air AI.
It's a running joke, but
Yeah,
any
yeah.
of the IRI tribe are looking pretty good just because we just do not see them go to tribal. So it's like,
Yeah.
and it's
I
like
honestly
for
don't
us,
even know
we
what the hell is
between the
happening in their
4
tribe.
picks we have, it's funny that we have 3 of the weaker tribe picks, and we gotten bailed out
Yeah.
that so
Yeah,
far
I
they
as
know,
long
haven't
it's
been
as
bailed
very
out.
as long as they don't
nerve-wracking
go to
here.
tribal again, you're fine. If they do go to tribal again,
Or if they go to merge, they're definitely gonna go to tribal, you know? It's definitely
yep,
happening.
yep. But so,
Um,
all right. So you're sticking or you're switching?
I'm sticking because you're right. If he has his idol, he can't go home.
Well,
Fair enough. All right.
I just felt that I would point that out, but we've seen what's happened with James, so
That's true.
you never know.
Oh my god.
And it would be funny
No.
if James is like if James was switched with Ozzy and James had the idol again. Oh, the conversations we would have.
Oh my gosh.
And surely James would not let it. He would just use it immediately, even if he wasn't the target.
You
The
know, it'd be funny if
PTSD.
James found the stick and used that as an idol because he was like, "We gotta just use it now."
It's like, yeah, like no one is even targeting James, and he just because of the PTSD, he's like,
Yeah, he was like, "I gotta use
I
it
gotta
now,
use
like
this.
stat, like right now." Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. You're right. With an idol, I think it's okay. I think I forgot about him having idol. Honestly, did not remember. But yes.
Okay, I just didn't want to influence your pick. Like it, I just wanted
It did
to.
influence my pick. No, low key, high key, it
Okay,
did for sure.
well,
Well, if
all right.
if Ozzy doesn't survive the next 2 episodes, then you know who to blame.
Yes, have this be on file. It is F's fault,
Just,
and I'm picking
just
Parvati for Amanda. Switching, blind switch.
You just lose both of them, Amanda and Ozzy
Oh
for the
my gosh,
for the
imagine. Oh my gosh, you're right.
in
It's 2
in
episodes.
2 episodes per
Oh
time.
my god, you're right. Oh my gosh, if I lose, it's you know what? It's fine. Let's do it. You know what? If I lose Ozzy, okay, we'll just remember if I lose Ozzy, my Amanda pick will switch automatically to Parvati.
automatically.
Okay, I
Ozzy,
want it to be like a stocks thing. Automatic change.
I think Ozzy currently just seems like the highest risk, highest reward. Like he's
He
gonna
is.
probably have a target, but he has protection that the others don't.
And
Yeah.
consider he's also. Oh wait, no, I was about to say he's watched James, but no, actually, they have not watched James' mistakes. So, because I was gonna say like not just James, no one would want to end up like James, but actually they haven't seen that because they had to go out before that part of the season got aired.
Maybe James
Um,
spoke about it to him like off camera.
Honestly, he probably did because like why like, but it's one thing to hear about it, one thing to see it. So, but all right, so everyone's sticking. We'll see how that works out for everyone, and we will continue next time with episodes 9 and 10. Will the merge finally get here? You would think it would have already happened. Actually, last season we watched, and the one before that, so 49 in the new era, and season 15, it was episode 7 that was the merge. We just did episode 7 and 8, and still no merge, and we lost 2 people who like from non-vote outs. We shall have to find out. But thank you all for tuning into this episode of Island Life, and tune in next time. Until then, ciao.